Hello and welcome to this tutorial on Moodle assessments. In this tutorial, we want to focus on two types of assessments. The first assessment type we're going to focus on is what we call computer marked assessments. Computer marked assessments are assessments whereby you put in the questions within the Moodle quiz tool. And as you're putting in the questions in the Moodle quiz tool, you specify the correct answer such that the system is going to grade the students as soon as they finish the attempt. The second type of assessment we're going to look at is what we call teacher-marked assessments. So teacher-marked assessments are assessments that allow the students to submit their work. And after submitting their work, the system then allows the instructor to download, grade, provide feedback, which the students are able to access their grades in the gradebook and also read through the feedback provided on the submissions. We'll start with the first assessment type, which is computer marked assessments, and we're going to go through the steps of setting up a quiz in a course. A quiz is a computer marked assessment. Now, before we proceed to creating the quiz on the platform, we are going to go through what we call the question bank. Every course has a question bank. So just as the name indicates, it is a bank, it is a storage of questions. So you can be able to create a question bank which has several questions which you can reuse oftenly. It means you can set up a new quiz and then pick questions from your question bank and add them to your quiz. So let's look at how to access the question bank. When you are on your course, go to the settings of the course, scroll down to click the menu item More, then scroll down to the options that are available to the section indicating Question Bank. Now, within the question bank, you can create categories. Categories are like sections whereby you can actually put in your question. So the question bank has categories, and categories are the storage areas where we put our questions. When you are viewing the categories, they're those that come by default in Moodle. So you'll see with a Moodle course, so you'll see default for course template. So my course name is course template. So in this case, it will be indicating the name of your course. You can add categories. Tips on how to create, structure your categories. You can structure the questions by maybe an area of specialization. So for example, you want to cluster questions together that are of a specific area within your course, or specific sets of topics or sections within your course. So I'll add a category, and my category name, I'll indicate that this is a category on questions, biology questions, or you put in the category name, and the category name should depict what the questions are all about. So in my case, I want to put in questions about nations in Africa. So I assume I'm teaching a course whereby I'm teaching about nations. And in this particular category, I want to put in questions relating to nations in Africa. Okay, so this category, I can put in my category information, which is a short description. So this category contains questions related to countries in Africa. Then I add category. So you can add another category. So maybe I want to put in, so here's my category and currently it has no questions. Let me add another category, and this category has to do with nations in Europe. So here I'll put questions related to the topics on nations in Europe. I add my category. So what we have done is within the question bank, we have created categories, which then we can import questions to the categories. Now, there are two ways that you can put questions into the categories. You can go directly to the category you have created, like this particular category on nations in Africa, and you can begin to create a question or questions in that category by directly clicking on this option, create a new question. With the quizzes, it affords you the ability to create, it affords you the capability to create different question types. So you have multiple choice, true, false, matching, short answer, numerical, essay, calculated, multi-choice, calculated simple, drag and drop markers. In this particular tutorial, I just focus on at least the first few, and you can explore the rest. So assuming I want to add a multiple choice question, I simply click on multiple choice and then I click add. So the name of the question, so I want students to identify the capital city of a given country, so capital city. So the question would be, which of the following is the capital city of Kenya? So it's a multiple choice question, so you have to indicate the choices. There's the first choice, Nairobi, which is the correct answer. So this one, this particular option, I'll give it 100% to indicate to the system that this is the correct answer. You can have Kampala. It's not the correct answer, so I leave it to none. Then we can have maybe Bujumbura. I don't know that that's the spelling, but yeah, Bujumbura. And it's not the correct answer, so we leave it as none. Then you save changes. So what happens is that particular question is added to my question bank, and you notice now my question bank has my category within the question bank has one question. Let's add another one, which is true, false. So the question is on Eastern Africa. So is Ethiopia a member of the East Africa? Is Ethiopia a member of East Africa? So assuming the answer is false, so you select the choice, which is the correct answer between true and false. So in this case, it's false. Then you click Save Changes. So we have added a second question to our category. Now, typing one question at a time as you're adding your questions to the category can be very tedious. So there is a way that you can actually be able to import questions to a category. And so let's go back to our question bank by clicking the question bank link here. So we are back to our question bank. Okay. So we're back to our question bank. We are still in the category Nations in Africa. Okay, and you can note that we have two questions. But now I want to show you a format that allows you to easily import several questions into the question bank. This particular format that I'm going to show you is known as the XML format. XML format. So let's go through the steps of creating an XML format, which then we are going to import the questions into our question bank. To do this, you need to open a simple text editor, for example, Notepad. Within the Notepad, you can then structure your questions in a given way, depending on the question type. Note, we have different question types. We have multiple choice, we have short answer, true, false, numerical, and essay question type. So those are the ones you're going to focus on. So to structure a multiple choice question type, you type in the keyword multi-choice. Then you type in the question. So you put the question number. This is question number 1. Then you put in the question. So I'm assuming my question is on economic activities in Uganda. So which of the following is the main economic activity in Uganda? Put in my choices. So the first one can be agriculture. The second one is maybe tourism. Third can be technology. We can call it digital innovation. So then you put in, and you have to indicate the choices. So choice A, full stop, then the choice B, C, then come and key in the keyword answer with a colon. Make sure that the A is a capital letter, so it's uppercase A, and then so you put in the keyword answer with a colon, then you specify the correct answer. So the correct answer in this case would be agriculture, which is choice A. So this is a multiple choice. It's what you call a multiple select. So there are instances you have a question with choices and you have more than one correct choice. So let's do our second question. Before you start to type the question, put in the keyword multi-choice. Then type in the question text itself. So which of the following are the main economic activities in Kenya? Which of the following are the main economic activities in Kenya? Again, we have agriculture, we have tourism, and we have digital innovation. So given that you have 2 correct answers, you put in the keyword answer, colon, then put in the choices with a comma. So choice A and B are the correct ones. For essay question types, these are question types that allow the student to be able to type in their responses in form of an essay. So you simply put in the keyword essay, then you put in the question itself. So maybe the question would be the new role of social blogging in e-learning. So the students are supposed to write something about the social blogging in e-learning. The other question type is short answer. So short answer, where the students are provided with a text box where they're supposed to type in the correct answer. So you can see the example of the question here. So you have to put in the keyword short answer, then put in the question. So calculate 2 plus 2. So in this case, you put in the correct answers, first of all, by typing in the converter word, typing in the keyword answer. Then in such cases, you have 2 variations of the answer. So someone can write number 4 or type in 4 in words. So put in the variation of answers, the variation of the correct answer. So it's either number 4 or 4 in written in terms of written in this way. Then we have numerical. So numerical is a question where the students are possibly they're going to work out and then put in a numerical answer. So the keyword here is numerical. Then you put in the text itself, the question, and then put in the word answer and then indicate the correct answer. Then for true false, the keyword is true false. Then you type in the question and then you put in the keyword answer, colon. If it is the answer is true, type in true. If the answer is false, just type in false. So the system will know that that is the correct answer. Once you have created your text file, make sure you save it. So click File and Save it. You can save it somewhere on your computer. So in my case, let me save it in the download. So I can call it as cat1, and save. Now the next step is to convert that particular cat into XML. Because now that is the format which you upload onto the learning platform, and it automatically adds your questions to your question bank, to your category in the question bank. So there is an online converter for XML. So just go to Google and type in XML converter. Use the keyword Moodle, so that gives you the XML Moodle converter. So this is the free tool available for conversion. Open it. Then select this option, Quiz XML, because we want to convert our quiz to XML. The way you've indicated your choices, note that in our text file, we indicated our choices as A, B, C. So the choices are A, B, C, like this. The numbering is 1, 2, 3. Then you come to this button, choose file. Then you pick the file, that cat file, this cat1 file. Click open. Then you click preview so that you can preview the output. There it is. So it has given us a go ahead, because it's just giving us warning. There's no error. There was an error, it would have been indicating to you error here, but this is just warning, showing that we haven't included feedback. There's a way you can include feedback in your questions as you're creating them, but it is not an error as per se. Once you're done, click on download. So what the system will do, it will generate for you an XML file. Okay, so it's going to generate for you a file called quiz.xml. So keep it. The system is just warning you because of the file format. Then you can open the file where it is located. So let me go to, in most cases, it downloads and saves it on the download folder. So click this option to view it. So this is our quiz that is now converted to XML. So I can rename it. If I'll be converting several quizzes, so I can rename it and call it this cat1. So cat1.xml. Now that we have our XML file, we can now go to our course. Okay, we can go to our template course, or whatever the name of your course is. Then we can go to the question bank again, go to our categories. This is our categories. Okay, select the specific category. So my category on nations in Africa, that is where I want to import. I want to import my questions. Okay, so while I'm at this particular point, I click import. There's a drop down up there, so select import. Remember, we are using the XML format, so make sure that you choose this XML format. Moodle supports a variety of format types, but in this case we have used the XML format, so select XML. Then under general, make sure that the category that is selected is the one that you want to put your questions into, which is nations in Africa. Then now you can upload your XML file. So here we're going to upload our cat1.xml file. Click open, upload this file, then import. So what the system will do, it will import, it will tell you it's importing 6 questions from file. So it's importing those questions, and then, so note that now we have our category of nations in Africa now has 8 questions. So what we have done is we have imported questions into our category. You can do the same for all the categories that you created. Remember, we had created a category nations in Europe. Okay, so you can pick that category and you can import questions into that category. So assuming I had created another set of questions that relate to nations in Europe. Okay, so my category is that, then I'll pick my XML file, click open, upload this file, then import. Oh, sorry, I had not picked the question. So this cat.xml, open, upload this file, and import. So those are my questions, then click continue. And note now, my category, nations in Europe, now has 6 questions. Once you have put questions into your categories in the question bank, you can go back to the course. So the next step now is to add your quiz and then select questions from the question bank and add to your quiz. So how do you add a quiz? Come to the settings of the course and make sure that you turn editing on. Once you've turned editing on, you can go to the specific section of your course where you want to add the quiz. So let me go to this week 3. Select add an activity or resource within that particular section. Then today we are focusing on activities, and specifically we are focusing on the quiz activity, this particular activity in creating computer math assessments. So my quiz can be nations, quiz on nations in Africa and Europe. Then you put in the quiz setting when you want the quiz to be done, assuming that I want my quiz to be done today from 8 a.m. all the way to 9 a.m. So the students have 1 hour to attempt. I can give them a time limit of 20 minutes within that 1 hour to attempt the quiz. I can tell the system to automatically submit the work in case the time elapses and the student has not finished the attempt. So make sure that you indicate open attempts are submitted automatically by the systems. Then a quiz allows a student to have multiple attempts. So you can limit the number of attempts that the student can have within a given quiz. So I'll give my students 2 attempts. So you have 2 chances to attempt the quiz. Then you can put in activity completion. So for a student, the system must mark this activity complete when the student has attempted. So the student must receive a grade, and then so the student must attempt and receive a grade to complete this activity. So once a student clicks on that particular quiz, attempts it and completes it, that's when the system will actually check and put into their register or report that they have completed this activity. Once you're done, click save and return to course. So that is the first step of setting up a quiz. So we have set up the quiz. Now we need to put questions into the quiz. And we are going to import the questions from our question bank, okay? So let me just search for. So this is the quiz on nations in Africa and Europe, okay? So we currently do not have any questions added in the quiz, so we are now going to add questions. So click on this button, add question, then select. We're going to pick questions from the question bank because we have already created categories and populated the categories with questions. So we're going to pick from question bank. So here we pick our category. I'll start with nations from Africa. So I want just to add 3 questions from this category. So I can pick the 3 questions I want to add, then select add selected questions to quiz. So my 3 questions have been added. Next, I want to pick questions from the category nations in Europe. So here I also want to pick some 3 questions, then add the selected questions. So I have created my quiz with 6 questions, and I have sampled or picked questions from the 2 categories. Now the students are able to attempt the quiz. So that is it about creating categories, creating questions in the text file and converting it to XML format, uploading the XML format to the question bank categories, adding a quiz, and then adding questions to the quiz from the categories.